In this image, I see a scope for making the sky more beautiful because it's overexposed, and I still feel I can bring in some details by doing some adjustment on the sky uh, of this landscape. And to do that, I can always use the brush tool, but then I have a better tool called graduated filter, and you can hit G on your keyboard to select this filter. With this, I can drag a gradient, and my adjustments are applied only within the gradient, and it's a soft gradient, so it merges very well with the other portion of the other part of the image. And now I already have done some adjustments before I drag this gradient, which is exposure, contrast, and let's do some changes to color as well. Let's select a beautiful color for the sky, and you can see the before and after with this gradient or graduated filter. Now this filter is also available in real photography. I mean, I can use these filters on the camera, and not the digital filter, but actual gradient in form of the piece of glass I can keep in front of my lens, and I can achieve this. But since we are not talking about photography here, we are talking about camera raw, and you can always do this kind of changes with the graduated filter. Not just that, you can also select the brush option from the top, and you have two brushes. One is for erasing and one is for adding up to the selection. You can switch on the mask so that we can see the affected area with our graduated filter. With erasing, you can eliminate the portion within the gradient, or you can add up some more portion within the gradient. So now remove the mask and check the effect. So to this, I can erase and get rid of the effect, and I can add up more area which can be affected with the adjustment. And similarly, we can see the sliders attached to the brush tool, the size, to change the size of the brush, feather and flow, which are similar to the adjustment brush we had seen. And now you can come back to edit and drag, and now you see the before and after. So all the beautiful landscape you see, much of the beauty is added up with the camera raw. Very few people can shoot this kind of landscape with bare camera without any adjustment in the image. You can add more graduated filter or gradients. You just can select the option new and create one more gradient over here, and you can apply different adjustments for this gradient. So instead of decreasing the exposure, I'm increasing over here, and play a little bit with the contrast, and let's change this color to green. And now let's check before and after. And if you feel that I don't want this particular gradient or graduated filter, then I can always select this and hit delete on the keyboard and get rid of that. And further to this, now this image is looking beautiful compared to the original image, but what I can do is always go back to some other tool, for example zoom tool, and come back to my normal adjustment panels, advanced adjustment panels or basic adjustment panels, and do further changes to overall image. So let's check effects and let's do dehaze to this image. And now you can see my further enhancement to this image before and after. Now whether it is radial filter or graduated filter, you can always select the filter and hit delete on the keyboard to delete it, or right click or delete this, or you can make a duplicate of this, and of that duplicate you can change your adjustment settings, as well as you can reset all the adjustment settings by pressing reset local correction settings, so that you don't have to, if you do mistakes with couple of adjustment settings and you get confused, you don't have to reset everything here one by one. You can reset the entire thing and start afresh. Or you can even clear brush modification, because it's very difficult to identify the brush modification. If I use the brush on different areas, as you can see that hardly the editing is visible, and I do not know whether that editing I have done with the brush or it's an effect of the graduated filter or radial filter. In such cases, you can right click on the graduated filter or radial filter and say clear brush modifications. Just like the graduated filter, we have radial filter. The only difference is that it works within the elliptical area we select. And as usual, you know that just to make the demonstration visible, I'm doing some sort of adjustment which is meaningless, but then it will make the effect visible. Now the adjustment I have done with the exposure is visible within the circular area or the elliptical area. But if you scroll down in the radial filter, you will see at the end we have effect, which is outside and inside. If I say outside, the adjustments are now applicable on the exterior of the elliptical area, and if you say inside, my adjustments are now applied to the inner circle of the elliptical area I selected. Just like the graduated filter, I also have the brush option over here, and I can remove or add some area inside or outside of the elliptical area depending upon my selection of inside or outside. Or I can even remove some adjustment from the selected region. And similar to the graduated filter, I can add up more radial filters to one single image. So to do that, say new, and you can create one more ellipse over here. You can select multiple elliptical regions with the radial filter, and each one can have different set of settings. However, when they overlap, these settings will have different effect of overlapping as well.